All right, so this is my skills development document or skills development video, week 7 assignment. This is my final project. So I'm just going to go through here and explain how my project completed these criteria. So the first one is JavaScript. So here is my project here. It's called Productivity Dashboard. So if I go to my JavaScript for this project, here's my scripts here. This is my index.html. So my scripts here, this is the app. This runs everything. It pulls in all the modules and just makes instances for everything and makes sure everything runs correctly and in the right order. Here's my background module, checklist module, habits module. So these modules have their own function. Background updates the background, checklist runs the checklist function, habits function. This creates a quote that refreshes every day. Based on a bunch of JSON quotes that I saved. I was going to do an API for this, but the API turned out to be over the size limit for the website, over 500 kilobytes. So I just saved 300 popular quotes, inspirational quotes, to a JSON, and this derives the quote. Here's the code that I used to have that derived it from this URL, but as you can see, it's all commented out. I'm not using it. I'm just using the JSON saved local JSON. I have a settings module here, storage model for creating local storage, time module for getting the current time, and the UI module for making everything look nice on for displaying everything on the screen here. I also have it set up for mobile view. It doesn't go horizontal. All right, so that is so just to go through the JavaScript real quick again. So those are the JavaScripts let's look at real quick. So robust programming logic was demonstrated, including multiple examples of non-trivial work. JavaScript was used to dynamically create a web application from JSON data retrieved from a third-party API. So there's two third-party APIs. There's the background module, which gets an API from unsplash.com to get a background, as you can right here, a background as you can see here, and this background refreshes every day. And then I'll show you later how it can be changed to different backgrounds based on the category. But we have the background. The next API is quotes. So this gets a quote. Oh, I already talked about the quote. It gets from JSON. So I only have one API here. I have the JSON right here, and I have the time. This gets from Rapid API. And what this does is it collects the user time zone from the user system, and then it uses world time API to get the world time based on the user's time zone. And then if it fails, it has a backup down here. In init countdown has backups that allow the program to get the time from the user's local time if they can't reach the API. So that's the JavaScript. I'm just going to explain a little bit more real quick just to make sure. So I have the settings JavaScript. This makes it possible for all of the settings on the web page to work correctly. So I have a theme here that I can change to match the system setting for dark mode or light mode. Right here it changes. I can change it. My system is set for dark mode, so it'll match the system whether I change my system to dark mode or system to light mode. Or I can change it manually right here. I also have accent colors, which I can change the accents. And if I wanted to, I could add a little bit more accents, but this is what I chose to do at the time for this time being. Accents will also include when I create habits and daily checklists. And then the background category, I can change this. This will refresh only once a day, but I can choose a different category. For example, I can choose city, and it'll choose a city one. All right, so we have that. That's the JavaScript. Third-party APIs, I explained that already. It uses it uses time to get a Rapid API, for the time, and then the background API for the category based on the category that the user chooses. And the user can only choose one image per category per day, so it doesn't overfetch the API. And then JSON, I already explained the JSON of the quotes right here, but however, everything creates their own JSON objects and saves it into storage. So I can show you here. I can show you in the inspect tab all of the data that is saved. So there's the background category, city, URL. It's chosen nature, the background category, because I've only uploaded the nature background. If I could, this is the city URL for the city background. I only chose the city and the nature. If I wanted to, I could choose one of the other categories and it would create a local storage object, JSON object for those two as well. I haven't done that yet. I have the daily quote that refreshes every day and it checks the date to make sure. For example, if I reloaded the page, it still has the same city background, still has the same accent color, still has the same theme selection. It also has the same quote. The time is always updated. This refreshes. It only collects once per day. It doesn't fetch the API over and over. It just collects it once and then increments by 1,000 milliseconds according to the JavaScript. The other storage, I have the habits, which haven't been created yet, and then user settings. So habits, I can add a habit here. So I can say a habit read scriptures. And so it starts off at 0. It has a little flashing icon to talk about to make the streak look a little bit more interesting. If I did read my scriptures today, it increments to 1. And then this saves. So like tomorrow, if tomorrow came, it would have this check mark go empty, and then I would click it if I read my scriptures tomorrow, and then it would increment to 2. I could also add a second habit if I wanted to. The checklist, I could do dishes, and it has a little hover transit animation here, and then I can do a check mark, and this saves to the JSON as well. So checklist is right there. Text do dishes completed is true. So that's because I checked it. And then read scriptures is the same for the habits. Right there, read scriptures completed today true, streak 1. So it saves all that information. JSON advanced CSS, I already explained a little bit about that. So as you can see, some of the things move when my mouse goes over them. They also have a little hover effect that changes the background color of the links. The other advanced CSS, I can change the accent color. That's part of events actually, but and then also if I refresh the page, it has an animation transition, a background transition. So if I change the dark mode as well, it will change the background of these section elements. So animations, transitions, card flips, hover events, those are all there. I don't have card flips. I only needed over 4 locations, evident places of advanced CSS, and I did. I have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have the hover events. I have the hover events for the buttons. And then events are, so I can change it to match the system. I can change the accent color. I can change to the nature background. I can do a set deadline here for, I could do down to Christmas. How many days until Christmas? And set deadline. And it'll say 263 days until Christmas. And it will save that. So if I refresh the page, it still has that deadline there, 263 days until Christmas. Local storage used effectively, I already showed that. It saves all of the information. It saves the deadline right there. Trello board. So right here is the link to Trello. So I can click it, and here is my final project, and these are all the tasks that I can complete. I'm working on the submission right now for the video, but it starts off with a setup and project structure, API integration. This is formerly Zen quotes, but I decided just to use the JSON for saving the quotes, unsplashes for the background, world time API, and so on. There's all the way down testing and polishing. All right, and then the video is what I'm doing now, and that completes this project. Thank you for watching.